Okay, we are going to go to question 3. By the way, we'll go up to question 5, and then we'll have audience questions. Okay, what's already been mentioned a couple times by some of our candidates is the downtown core revitalization. And basically what that is, it's been part of it's also folded into our general plan. And then one of the things that they talk about is parking garages, and that's what is related to this question. So for the downtown core revitalization, and also in the Plan Hermosa, they talk about centralized parking. So using a parking structure for that. The possible spots in Hermosa Beach, again, this is just proposed, there's no plans on the table, but the one proposed spot is parking lot A. So that's a city surface lot, and it is on Hermosa Avenue and 11th Street. The second possible multi-level parking structure would be underground, and that would be at the Civic Center. So right here at City Hall, if we built the new Civic Center, possibly, again, it's proposed, you could have underground parking right here, and then a Civic Center on top. Then the third multi-level parking structure could be the Community Center, just across the street here, and kind of a remodel there, put in parking underground, and maybe tennis courts on top. And then this is the same talking about and proposing also has gone into Plan Hermosa. So they're talking about centralized parking, using underground parking structures. And so anyway, that's the setup for this question. And Haney will be taking this question first. What is your opinion regarding the financing and construction of one or more large multi-level parking structures in order to service the visitor car parking for the Hermosa Beach downtown area? How would the city finance the construction of these multi-million-dollar parking structures? Haney?
So I think since the last time we've discussed this, things are changing through the ride-sharing process, and it's commonly referred to as disruptive technologies, and it's disrupting our plan of what we've had put in together regarding parking. So at this point, based on the changes in that landscape with ride-sharing technology, I'm not in favor of building any new multi-level parking structures in the downtown area. I think basically my fear factor is I don't want to be building in structures that are going to be vacant in 5 to 10 years. I think it's changing every year based on how people are using the ride-sharing technologies. I have a lot of people that I know that essentially stopped having cars. They don't own cars anymore. Their lease ends, and they just decided we're going to Uber or Lyft from now on. So until we get a good handle of where that is, I'm not interested in any process that the city will go into to build a structure. Will probably take at least 3 to 4 years to actually get completed. And I think it would be a bad investment for us to put the resources into something like that when we really don't know where the landscape is going to be. If there is a need to have a building structure to have other improvements being done, such as if we're building a new police department and obviously need parking for that, or a new library, or new facilities, then we'll have that discussion. But I'm not interested in having 2 or 3 multi-level parking in downtown.
Summarize, Haney.
I think I made my point. I'm not in favor of building multi-level parking structures, and if a parking structure is needed with the other developments, the financing would be done similar to other financing or other city structures, which we will be discussing again on the October 4th and the October 10th meetings coming up.
Thanks, Haney. Trent?
Well, I will concede that parking structures are visible and usable. I don't want to see a new parking structure built in downtown either. I would say that the city doesn't want it, the town doesn't want it. In the 3 years now that I've been communicating with people around town and running for office, it's just not an issue that's come up. And I would say on parking, though, however, it is important, I think, that we look at our parking standards so that our businesses can expand, because ride sharing is there, Uber is there, people bike places, and businesses that want to expand, especially the restaurants, they need assistance. They can't be charged $35,000 every time they want to put in a few new tables in their facility. It's just ridiculous. And so while I don't want to see big parking structures, I do want to see some changes to our parking regulations. And for example, when we do renovate, for example, the fire department or the library or up here in City Hall, if we go underground with parking because it's part of a bigger project and not just for parking, I think that's probably something we should look at.
Thanks, Trent. Pete?
Thank you. I'm going to start with Lot A, which is the downtown parking lot, and I think we need to wait and see what kind of development will happen at 11th Street. Previously, we had a developer who was going to build a hotel, and he was going to build a new structure with conference room and civic access and open space on the top of this parking structure, and with no current loss of parking at his expense. We have the parking lot south of City Hall. I think we need to wait to see what kind of needs we're going to need for the Civic Center renovations. The lot behind the Bijou Theater, which is Lot B, I think we need to ask the developer of the Mermaid site to build 2 to 3 additional floors of parking, which would add 130 spaces, and connect this lot to parking Lot B to Lot C in exchange for the vacation of Beach Drive and 13th Court. The Civic Center facility, I would elevate the tennis courts above the current, where the current courts are. This would add approximately 250 spaces and also create a venue for large events such as the Ed Foundation fundraiser and provide more parking for theater events. This could be accomplished in less than a year. The city needs to ask the question, how many parking spaces does the city need?
Pete, you can summarize?
And can we handle more visitors who put more burden on our city services? The funding would come from possibly a BID, Business Investment District, partnerships or fees with developers, private investment firms, or just as we all know it, parking rates. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Stacy?
Thank you. Any new parking that doesn't contribute to the financial well-being of Hermosa or doesn't benefit our residents isn't a high priority on my list. I'm certainly more concerned about residential parking and parking for our residents at city facilities that are impacted, like our community center. I don't support building more parking structures downtown. That real estate is too valuable. We have a parking structure downtown right now, and we need to preserve views where we can, not build 3-story concrete parking structures. I support rethinking the parking configuration at the community center and possibly also at the storage facility to service the needs of the theater, community center, our library, civic center, city hall, farmers market, upper pier, and encourage walking throughout our city. If financing was necessary, I would want to explore a similar financing scenario as we had with parking structure C. In that scenario, the county paid for the structure and we're paying them back over time with revenue sharing. Finally, when determining the size of any proposed parking structure, we should remember the number of people that are using Lyft and Uber these days. And in the coming years, there's no need to overbuild when these services are becoming increasingly more popular. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. Matt?
Thank you, Al. As far as this decision, the question asks, what is your opinion on something that this matter, without any financial projections of time and cost and more important revenue from one of these parking structures? It is just an opinion. I think everybody here agrees that the downtown parking in Lot A is definitely not an option. If we were to go with a parking structure or facility, if the financial numbers added up and made sense, it would definitely benefit having it up here in this area of town because you want to have more foot traffic going down Pier Avenue to help the businesses. As far as our parking strategy, that needs to become a fluid document. As we've all mentioned, the technologies and change in how we travel and transport has changed. And most importantly, within the downtown area, everyone's using Uber and Lyft, but we don't have a designated drop-off spot that's safe for everybody, and that has become a safety issue. There you go.
Thanks, Matt. Mary?
Okay, thanks. The way I was thinking about this, I don't feel like I have enough information yet to determine whether or not we do need even one multi-level parking structure in Hermosa Beach. But I would be curious to put that in the context of our future thriving economy. And that not only includes the businesses, but it also includes what happens at the community center. I ran into one of the members of the Parks and Recreation Commission, and he was sharing with me something I didn't know. He said they are talking about a proposal they might bring forth about a fairly dramatic potential to use to refurbish and use our theater, our community theater, for maybe some bigger venue acts and some draw to town. Now that would bring more business and potentially more diners and shoppers as well. So of the 3 options that have been on the table in proposed plans, there's by the Civic Center, I see that as a little out of the way. Definitely not at downtown at 11th Beach. One business owner said, "You mean you're going to drive them? You're gonna let them drive all the way to the beach and get out and bypass all the businesses, hop to the sand. I think the community center makes some sense. I would love if it were something the city felt the need to pursue, be an underground parking structure, very centrally located, and it just would flow everyone down throughout the entire Pier Avenue corridor. I think
You
that's it.
summarize?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.